Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a conflict that is literally reshaping the world as we know it. We're going to unpack everything from century-old geopolitical theories right down into the muddy, high-tech trenches of modern drone warfare, and then zoom all the way back out to look at the massive economic shockwaves hitting the globe. It's a hugely complex web, but we're going to break it down together. Here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll map out the geopolitical grand chessboard. Second, we'll hit the shifting front lines of drone warfare. Third, we're looking at the global food and energy ripples. And finally, we'll untangle all that high-stakes global diplomacy. All right, part one, the geopolitical grand chessboard. To really grasp the gritty day-to-day details of this war, we first need to zoom way out and look at the vast geographic forces framing the whole thing. It's all about land, access, and some very deep historical roots. Now, what's wild is how a 120-year-old geographic theory essentially predicts today's battle lines. Back in 1904, a guy named Halford Mackinder came up with the heartland theory. Basically, he argued that whoever controls the core of Eurasia, we're talking those vast stretches across Eastern Europe and Russia, ultimately commands global power. And this isn't just some dusty, forgotten academic paper. It's the literal foundation of the territorial anxieties and ambitions we're watching play out right now. A perfect, real-world example of this theory in action is the Black Sea. Controlling this specific body of water isn't just about grabbing some local territory. It's about holding the absolute key to the entire Eurasian chessboard. It's this massive, vital artery for global trade, naval power, and energy transit. So the fierce contest over the Black Sea directly connects those old historical power struggles with today's modern naval ambitions. Moving right along to part two, drones and shifting front lines. Here's where those grand, century-old theories violently collide with bleeding-edge 21st century tech. We are seeing an incredibly chaotic push and pull on the ground. On one side of the ledger, you've got Ukraine launching a daring, highly unexpected offensive, pushing deep into Russia's Kursk region. But simultaneously, on the other side, you have the stark, grim reality of mandatory civilian evacuations from Ukraine's own key city of Pokrovsk as Russian forces advance. It's just dramatic, sweeping territorial shifts with an immense human cost, happening for both sides at the exact same time. And the way this is being fought, we are literally witnessing the evolution of warfare in real time. We've got relatively cheap, highly lethal drones completely neutralizing billion-dollar traditional military assets. Think about it. Ukrainian seaborne drones are destroying Russian fighter jets, and aerial drones are pulling off precision strikes deep inside Russian territory, hitting oil refineries and air bases. Then flip the script, and you have Russia's S-8000 Frankenstein drone, this terrifyingly precise pencil-like weapon, just haunting Ukrainian forces on the front lines. The innovation loop here is lightning fast. Because of all this, the map is essentially being rewritten month by month. You look at the Pokrovsk evacuations late last year, then Ukraine's Kursk offensive confirmed in early 2025, followed quickly by Russia claiming to recapture Suja. It completely defies any static assumptions. Honestly, if you tune out for a month, the tactical reality on the ground has completely changed when you check back in. Okay, part three, global food and energy shockwaves. Let's zoom back out from the trenches, because these frontline explosions are sending massive ripple effects straight onto the global trading floor. Take Europe, for instance. They are drastically severing their energy arteries. They went from a super high pre-war reliance on Russian energy to an aggressive, hard pivot, adopting massive new sanctions in 2024 that even include strict bans on liquefied natural gas. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a historically unprecedented rewiring of the entire global energy grid, happening in real time. So why does all this matter to you? Well, it's pretty simple. A naval war over the Black Sea directly inflates you household heating bills. But it goes way farther than that. The resulting supply chain vulnerabilities jack up the cost of goods globally, and disruptions to Ukrainian grain exports directly cause huge spikes in the global hunger index. Make no mistake, this is not a localized conflict. It is a systemic shock to the whole global system. $2 billion. To put that massive number into perspective, that is just one single recent pledge from the UK for Ukrainian air defense missiles. Sustaining this level of high-tech conflict requires an absolutely astronomical injection of capital. It's draining national budgets everywhere and seriously testing the economic endurance of all international allies involved. Which brings us to part four, high-stakes global diplomacy. With the economic and human toll just mounting globally, we enter the turbulent, incredibly high-stakes theater of international diplomacy. The diplomatic pressure behind the scenes is just immense, and it's coming from literally all sides. For instance, we're seeing severe friction over military strategy emerging from the United States, with allies of the Trump administration reportedly mounting heavy pressure on Ukrainian leadership to either change their stance or step aside. It shows how the geopolitical alliances supporting the war effort are constantly shifting and under severe political stress. Looking objectively at the other side of the table, Russian leadership maintains a fiercely rigid stance. Moscow consistently asserts that it has the strength to finish its operation, setting very firm, non-negotiable conditions for any halt to the conflict. It's a projection of total confidence coupled with uncompromising demands. And in direct response, Ukraine views these sudden short-term ceasefire proposals with deep suspicion, flat out labeling them as theatrical. Ukrainian leadership completely refuses to compromise its core territorial positions or enter into these short pauses, because they firmly believe those pauses just allow opposing forces time to regroup and rearm. So behind the scenes, you have this frantic web of international actors trying to navigate the deadlock. The US and Ukraine are out there negotiating deep economic mineral deals, even while aid is paused. French President Macron is hosting top-level strategy talks in Paris. There are proposals floating around for direct talks in Istanbul. Meanwhile, European military brass are scrambling to coordinate continental defense plans. Everyone is desperately trying to broker a resolution while, of course, securing their own strategic interests at the same time. It kind of leaves the diplomatic environment trapped in this frustrating three-step cycle. Step 1, a temporary ceasefire or a summit gets proposed. Step 2, it instantly encounters hardline rejections or impossible preconditions from the opposing leaders. Step 3, everyone pivots right back to military escalation and deeper entrenchment. Without a foundational agreement, a temporary pause just leads straight back to the battlefield. All right, let's pull all of this together. What we're looking at is a stark collision. We are essentially witnessing a war fought over 19th century geopolitical concepts. The fight for the Eurasian heartland and the Black Sea, but it's being executed using 21st century highly lethal drone networks. The overarching strategy is ancient, but the day-to-day tactics are entirely unprecedented. And that brings us to the end of this explainer. I want to leave you with this to ponder. As this violent friction between modern technology and ancient geography grinds on, will it ultimately rewrite the century-old map of the Eurasian heartland, or will it simply entrench the borders we've always known? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.